This is the tale of Hugh the Hunter, and the remarkable things he sees and that see him. On a crisp morning at the Peregrine estate, all of the rooms lay quiet, except for one, where our hero sat perched, studying the day's most elusive quarry, the legendary red grouse, a bird prized for its camouflage and deceit. Principal among his strategy was to gird himself with the appropriate garments of a Highland hunter. The twill of his tweed was patterned to resemble the hues of the heather moors where the grouse made its home. Hugh's great-great-grandfather had designed that very tweed, affirming the family's stature as men of prominence and savoir-faire. And if Hugh had not inherited everything from his ancestors into the modern world, it was only through the natural permutations that always occurred from one generation to the next. His destination was the moorland heath, where the grouse was known to hide. But to get there, he had first to travel through the dark canopies and mysterious ferns of the bracken forest. It was here that the woodcock came every year, flying miles and miles to feed and nest amongst the dead leaves and slithering branches. As he stepped into the clearing, Hugh wondered for a moment if he was not being hunted as well. It was at the pond on the edge of the marsh that he found his second prey. A foreign species that men like Hugh had bred for their own sport. Could he, a mere man, ever master the art of deception that came so easily to these creatures? Or did it even matter? How strange, he thought, to be an animal that sought always to blend in. His provisions were low and his body fatigued, but the day was not done, and his journey far from over. As he finally approached the moors, Hugh could feel a change in the air. The eyes he had felt on his back were now attached to a body. The mighty peregrine falcon gazed from its perch in search of prey. Then, sudden as a ghost, he saw the red grouse. And the grouse saw Hugh. The tweed of his coat matching precisely the pattern of the heather behind him, fitting into the landscape as had been learned from his forebears, generation to generation. And in that singular moment, Hugh and the grouse saw each other for what they were. The bird recognized Hugh as a fellow creature of camouflage. He had conquered the grouse. But something had changed within him. He now felt a sharp comprehension of the animal's deepest thoughts and feelings. Though what those thoughts were precisely is not for us to discern. And so, as evening fell, he began his long return home. Across the pond of armored bark, through the forest of changing shapes, back to the castle. And what he saw at that moment surprised him more than anything thus far. Around the table, wrapped in attendance, were 5 fellow hunters. In the end, Hugh discovered that despite his free will, he still harbored the awesome power of instinct with which all of Earth's creatures were born. And just as Mother Nature had designed feathers to match the heather in the field, so had she created tweeds and hats and leather boots.